Welcome to this evening's meeting for February 2024. We have all councillors in attendance, no apologies, and our staff and our CEO in attendance also, and some folks in the public gallery. Welcome to you and thank you for joining us. Please be advised that this council meeting is recorded and it will be live streamed and remain available to the public online. And Councillor Wiley, were you going to do us the pleasure of doing the acknowledgement of country and our statement of values, please?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. The Central Coast Council acknowledges and pays respect to the traditional owners of Lutruwita, the Palawa Pakana people. We acknowledge the Punalapana tribe of the Northern Country, and in doing so, we celebrate one of the world's oldest continuing cultures. And the statement of values, guided by the diverse beliefs, experiences and backgrounds of the people that we represent, we strive to make inspired and respectful decisions today that will build a better tomorrow.
Indeed we do. Thank you so much. Moving on then to item 1.1, which is the confirmation of the minutes. This resolution calls for someone to move and second the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the council held on the 22nd of January and the minutes of the planning subcommittee meeting held on the 5th of February 2024. It would be most expedient if someone who was on both, attended both, were able to.
Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Diprose, seconded Councillor Carpenter. Any discussion on the minutes? There being none, I put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
And against? The motion is carried. 2.1 is Mayor's communications. I don't think I have anything to communicate that we won't cover elsewhere. 2.2 is the Mayor's diary, a list of events and functions that I have attended on behalf of yourselves and the community. Does anybody have anything to add? Thank you. Councillor?
No, I was just going to move.
Oh, you were going to move it? Okay, yes, all right. Well, how about we do that then? Moved by Councillor Viney. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Hiskett. Thank you. Did anybody wish to speak to that item? Thank you, Councillor Wiley.
Thank you. If I may, Mayor, I just wanted to make a special mention about the Women in Waves event with Lane Beachley that you attended. I also attended that one, so I'd like to compliment especially the Albert Street gang of Turners Beach, who have managed to get a 7 times world champion surfer to our community, which is fantastic. And it also brought people from all over the state and interstate to come and, you know, women surf together, and then also to hear Lane Beachley speak. So it was not only something that was a physical benefit for people, but it was also something that I believe really helped the mental well-being and really encourages that. So it was a great day.
Thank you. It was a great day, and Turners Beach now holds the title of the location that has had the smallest waves that Lane Beachley has ever surfed. And we take that with great honour, don't we? No, it was a great event, and council was pleased to be able to support it as one of the event supporters. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Beswick.
Yes, Mayor, I'd just like to acknowledge that I attended on the council's behalf the Helia College Evening of Excellence. It was a great evening sharing with the staff and students of the educational pursuits that they've done in the last 12 months, and there was some outstanding students there. I'd just like to acknowledge Talia Brown, who received the Scholarship of Merit, which was sponsored by Central Coast Council, and I hope that she does well with her studies this year, but it was great to be able to present that to her at the awards.
Thank you for your attendance. Councillor Diprose.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to congratulate everybody who attended the walk yesterday for Lift the Lid walk to raise funds for mental health, with this year the money being going to research for those children from the ages of 0 to 12. It was a fantastic day, and I really appreciate, as much as everyone else does, the work that the Rotary Club of Ulverstone West put in to do that. And it was great to have yourself there, Mayor, and speak to that as part of the opening. But it was also wonderful for the CEO to accompany me on that walk as well. It was a great turnout. They had nearly 200 people register. It was great, and just we had a mayor from circular head come down as well and join on that walk, and it was just perfect day, beautiful weather on great path that we have. Yeah, and thank you to the service clubs and to Paul Johnson for supplying ice cream and food as well.
Thank you. No, it was a great event, and it was lovely to be able to showcase the of Ulverstone's best assets as part of the first Lift the Lid walk for the northern part of the state. We certainly hope they will come back and see us again. So we have a mover and a seconder. Any further discussion on the diary? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. 2.2 is declaration of interest. Does any councillor have an interest they wish to declare in any matter on this agenda? No, I would just like it to be noted that in relation to 9.3, which is the Ulverstone Civic Centre review, as part of that review, the recommendation is about the Ulverstone Repertory Society taking up a lease there as part of that centre. Should you decide that that's the way you wish to go, I am the patron of the Ulverstone Repertory Society. I don't stand to benefit from that, but I just wanted to declare that at this time. 3.1 is councillor reports, and councillors have been appointed by the council to community or other organisations are invited to share their activities with us at this time. Does anybody wish to share their work? Thank you, councillor Wiley.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would just like to talk about the Central Coast Chamber of Commerce and the extreme activity that we've been up to lately, which has been fantastic to see them. They've always been an active group, but certainly more so in the last few months. Shout out to Simone Dobson, who is the promotions officer, who has been putting a lot of work into the chamber recently and doing what they can to support and highlight businesses in the Central Coast where possible. They've been doing a hot desk, which has been quite successful. So they've been setting that up alternatively in Ulverstone and Penguin, to allow anybody to be able to come up to them and ask any questions about how they can be supported, and that's been really well received. And they've also got a business in the spotlight program, which will be coming up, and that is just to give any local businesses the opportunity to stay open past their usual operating hours, to give people the chance to be welcomed in, talk about what it is that they do, and I just think that that's a really fantastic opportunity for businesses to take up that offer. And the last thing is the Business and Tourism and Travel Expo that's coming up on the 7th of April. So they did do this last year, and one of the overwhelming statistics that came out of the survey that they've done after that is 76% of the visitors to the expo last year had discovered a business that they didn't know about. So it's a really fantastic chance to get Central Coast businesses out there for people to know about them and know what they do. Connect with one another.
As you say, been very active. Great work. Thank you, councillor Wiley. Any other speakers? Councillor Hiskett.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few quick notes. One, that the Penguin Surf Club hosts the state championships, I believe, on the 23rd and 24th of March. So watch out for that one and try to get there if you can. And just to welcome the new artistic director and circus manager to Slipstream Circus, Mark Douglas, who started his role, I think, about a fortnight, 3 weeks ago, and seems to be settling in very well and very much appreciated over there. So, council's support to him when we see him.
Please do. Yes, that's great news. Fabulous. Thank you, councillor Diprose.
Yes, Mayor, last week I attended, we had the first meeting of the Central Coast Council Youth Council, which was a fabulous group of new students that have arrived. A few of them have been before. We had some fresh faces and quite keen and eager to have input, and there wouldn't have been one of those students around the table that did not contribute something throughout the meeting, which is fantastic for a first time meeting like that as well. They've come up with ideas, and they're going away to have a discussion and bring back to the next meeting on what they would like to achieve, what events they would like to see, and what ideas they have that could help benefit our youth on Central Coast. And a lot of that will be coming from the survey that was conducted last year and the results of that. Also on the 21st of March, they will be participating in a focus group forum with a senior researcher being organised by UTAS on e-cigarettes, which has themed for 12 to 18-year-olds, and the theme is youth voice. So it'll be a great opportunity for them to put forward to the senior researcher what the issues are around e-cigarettes, vaping, etc. in their schools and in their age groups. Thank you.
Fabulous, thank you. I know when the CEO met with the outgoing councillor last year, vaping was far more of a concern to them and far more prolific than perhaps someone my age has an appreciation for in our community. So I'm pleased that we've been able to tee that up with the research opportunity as well. So that's fabulous. Thank you so much. Any other reports? No? Thank you. That takes us to item 4.1, leaves of absence. There are no applications for deputation at this meeting. 5.1 is deputations. No requests for deputations to address the meeting or make statements or deliver reports have been received or made. 6.1 is petitions. No petitions under the provisions of the Local Government Act have been presented, which takes us then to 7.1, which is councillors' questions without notice. Your opportunity to ask a question of the CEO or directors as you choose. Around the table, Councillor Lehman. Councillor Carpenter, Councillor Wiley.
No, thank you.
Councillor Smith.
No, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Diprose.
No, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Hiskett.
Not today, Mayor.
And Councillor Viney.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Beswick.
No, thanks, Mayor.
And none for myself. Thank you. That takes us to item 7.2, which is councillors' questions on notice, and no questions on notice have been received. 8.1 refers to public question time. So at a time between agenda items or as close to 6:40 as we can, the council allows 30 minutes for public question time. If you're intending to ask a question, please refer to the information that you would have received or might be on your seat there in relation to a maximum of 2 questions. And if a councillor unable to answer a question at the time, then a written response will be provided. So we will turn our attention to public question time around 6:40 or close to. 8.2 relates to public questions taken on notice. So this is a reflection on public questions that have been previously asked and the responses to the verbal responses that were provided to Linda French of Turners Beach and Gary Carr of Turners Beach are in your agenda. Would a councillor care to move the suggested resolution for that item? Thank you, Councillor Wiley. Second, Councillor Beswick. Any discussion? No, there being none, I put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. Item 9.1 from the Office of the CEO and Mayor. 9.1 are minutes and notes of the council and other, minutes and notes of committees of council and other organisations, and the minutes that you've been provided for the Turners Beach Community Representative Committee. Would a councillor care to move the suggested resolution? Thank you, Councillor Viney. Seconded, Councillor Wiley. Any discussion on those minutes? Lots of questions on those minutes. Councillor Hiskett, you were first.
For the echo sentiment by probably other comments, just to note the formal winding up of the committee and to thank them for their amazing work they've done over the years. It's always a pleasure to read the minutes as they arrive for the council agenda. And yes, we're interested to see the thank you event that's prepared for the the dedication that they have shown to the community. So very much want to council to wish them well.
Thank you so much, and indeed we will get them together and thank them on behalf of our organisation for their service. Councillor Beswick?
Yeah, basically it was a ditto. Just going to thank the community for their support.
Yes, indeed. Councillor Wiley?
And took the words right out of my mouth.
Likewise,
Thank you very much.
So it's certainly been valued, and I suppose in one way that is good that we have evolved our communication processes and our community conversations and the approachability of our staff and a range of things that we've put into place, which means that people no longer feel that it's necessary. They're satisfied we've got other means to communicate with them. So that's fabulous. Did I have a mover and a second there?
Yes, fine.
Thank you. Any other discussion? No, there being none, I put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. 9.2 is the Chief Executive Officer's report. For those that might have read the agenda or downloaded it previously, they should note that the 3 schedules appended to that report were not included in the initial agenda release, but have since been attached and will be included in the minutes of this meeting. So I trust you've all had a chance to familiarise yourself with the report and those attachments. Would a councillor care to move the suggested resolution for that item? Thank you, Councillor Hiskett, seconded Councillor Dick-Rose. Councillor Hiskett, did you wish to speak to this?
Yes, just to acknowledge the new format that this has taken place. It's changed some of our agenda items, but just consolidated them. But also just to congratulate and thank the new informed presentation of where our actions are at through our term plan. The discussion we had at our workshop again, it was very robust, and I think what's being presented to us now is a lot more clear and transparent presentation. It allows councillors to fully understand where they're at, and I appreciate the work that's gone into making something that is readable and accessible. Look forward to seeing. It's good. I don't have to count. I don't have to sit there and count how many things behind it.
You don't.
Hold up front, which is amazing. So let's all also hope that they'll many things are on schedule as well. So thank you.
Fabulous, thank you. Any other speakers? No. Fabulous. In that case, I put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. And we have no councillor questions for the office of CEO and Mayor. That takes us to 9.3, which is the Ulverstone Civic Centre review. We've been part of the review and you've had a report provided to you with its recommendations. Would a councillor care to move the suggested resolution for that item, please? Thank you, Councillor Wiley. Seconded, Councillor Carpenter. Thank you. Councillor Wiley, did you wish to speak to that at all?
Yes, I will. Thank you. Well, I guess first of all, I'd like to say the amount of consultation that was appreciated by many community members and many users of the Ulverstone Civic Centre gave us a really good snapshot of what was wanted by the community. I was pleased to see that people were very happy with the building itself and the structural integrity of it, but the things that could be tweaked, and some of those are things that are going to improve the efficiencies of it. It's going to be able to promote it, and it's not necessarily something that's going to be a huge burden on the budget as what it could have, what it possibly could have been. But I also think that these somewhat small improvements can just make a huge difference to the use of the space. I'd really like to see this go ahead as is in the report.
Thank you so much. Any other speakers? Councillor Smith.
I'd also like to acknowledge the work that our staff's put into that. It's just been very, very well done and appreciated, as Councillor Wiley has told us, by all the community, and it was just a very good job, a good process. We have also put a lot of work into it ourselves, try to get it right, and it's going to breathe some more longevity into that building and a bit more use to it. And it's just a well done, and that's all I'd like to say on that one.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other speakers? Councillor Carpenter.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to concur with Councillor Wiley and Smith, and I think to our staff for being very transparent in this review. It's a pleasure to see that come through and see where we sit with the Civic Centre, and I think it's a great outcome that the Rep Society is probably finding a more permanent home, hopefully, once this licence is negotiated. And I think they are the ideal tenant for that building at this present point in time. And we've got to really consider that we've got cities either side with bigger civic buildings, and we've got to find that niche market in between somewhere, and we let it slip to where we were pre-COVID. And sort of post-COVID things have got to start ramping up again. And I have full faith in our staff to be able to do that. I look forward to the Rep Society making great use of this building.
Great. Thank you. Councillor Dick-Rose.
And I'm sure you would agree with me, Mayor, since we both have performed on that stage many, many, many years ago in our high school days. it's great to see this having more life being put back into it again, and you know, making the most of a venue which is really good. It might seem to be a little bit intimate to others, but it is a great venue. There's been such amazing plays and everything over there throughout the years, and like dance comps and everything have happened over the last couple of years as well. So it's fantastic to see, you know, those opportunities still being there for those smaller organisations that, or smaller performances that don't have the need for such bigger venues. So yeah, great to see.
Thank you. Councillor Hiscott.
Say the start of the executive summary has it at 41 years old, and if I look back at 41 years old, I'll be happy to. Alternatively, though, at 34, I'm feeling like I need a facelift as well, and so does the Civic Centre. So I think the report's pretty holistic in all the information that it provides. Well done to the staff on writing it, and yeah, I think the actions, the recommendations that it put forth are reasonable. I think, you know, we don't need to go out there and be the biggest and the best. I don't think that's the goal for that space, but it's certainly in need of making that. That's what this report sets out to do. So thank you.
Councillor Vines.
Just to add to the other comment, at 41 years old, the building was looking tired, and it does need work on it. And it's good to see that this group, the council, has looked at reviewing that situation, and it's great to see the work done by the staff and also the community consultation in that process. Thank you.
Good. Councillor Beswick.
Just to concur with all the other councillors' comments, one thing that I was pleased about in the consultation was the acknowledgement of the building and its history. For those that may or may not know, it was the first major building that the Fairbrother Group, which it is now, which was Royce Fairbrother. It was his first major project, and the story behind that was that he was had to be backed by his father and his uncle to be able to be accepted by, I'm not sure who built it, whether it was the government at the time or whatever, to be able to do that job. So it's got a lot of heritage, and I, for one, and that we're not going to go too far with the changing the facility, because it's got a lot of character with it, and I think it has stood the time that it's been there in the 41 years. Bit more than 41 years, and Councillor Hiscott, I don't think I need a facelift yet. Yeah, so I'm pleased that we're not doing too much with it, and that the history of the what is the first building of Fairbrothers will stand in good stead.
Thank you. Any other comments? No. Councillor Wiley, did you wish to close?
No, I think everything's been said. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. 9.4 is development application determinations. You have a schedule provided to you. Would a councillor care to move the suggested resolution? Councillor Hiscott, seconded. Councillor Diprose. Any discussion on those determinations? No, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. 9.5 is council acting as a planning authority. As we move into assessing some planning applications, could I have a councillor move the suggested resolution for 9.5, please?
So maybe.
Councillor Carpenter, seconded. Councillor Beswick. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried. Which takes us to 9.6, which is the subdivision of 2 residential lots across rural living zone and rural zone at 80 Benfields Road in Turners Beach. Please note that there was a wording error in the initial agenda that was initially released, and that has since been corrected. The error was that the planner's comments on page 67 of the report had an error, and it now correctly states the crusher operations have been enclosed, not closed. So the amendment the original agenda said that it was closed. The wording should have read enclosed, with the express purpose of reducing noise and emissions. This error has no bearing on the manager's recommendations. You have a report in front of you. Do I have a councillor that would care to move the suggested resolution for that item, please?
So move me.
Thank you, councillor Beswick. Seconded,
Seconded, Mayor.
councillor Carpenter. Thank you, councillor Beswick.
Yes, Mayor, I'm happy to support this motion. There's an in-depth report there being carried out by our staff. And it's been acknowledged how the locality in relation to watercourses and so forth are treated a little bit differently in Central Coast, which may or may not need to be addressed in the future. But I'm happy with the report that's been put in. I acknowledge the respondent to the plans that were submitted, and accept their thoughts as well regarding that. But as I say, I'm happy to support it as it is.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Carpenter.
Mayor, yes, concur with councillor Beswick with the report on his sentiments and the report. I think it's fairly in depth into what we can deal with in today's current situation. To take in the representation. I think the setbacks and everything that we're allowed to sort of put in place and the conditions there should satisfy that at this present time.
Thank
So
you.
support it, Mayor.
Supporting that. Any other speakers? Councillor Viney.
Happy to support the motion as put forward. I think the planning staff have done an excellent job in putting this report together, and the representation that has been put forward has been well dealt with. I think on planning grounds, I'll be looking at approving the motion.
Thank you so much. Any other speakers? Councillor Wiley.
I think I would just also like to acknowledge the representative and his concerns around the environmental aspects. And it is a really important thing that we have people in the community that are looking at those environmental aspects. As we are acting as a planning authority, we do have to really look at the recommendations and the evidence that's there in front of us. And we are bound by the Tasmanian planning scheme. So I just wanted to acknowledge the representative's concerns.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any other speakers? Councillor Beswick, did you wish to close?
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. In that case, I put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. It takes us to 9.7, which is the draft amendment to the Central Coast Local Provisions Schedule, the LPS, to amend the Turners Beach Specific Area Plan. We've been discussing this for some time, and you have a suggested resolution in front of you. Would a councillor care to move the suggested resolution for that item, please? Councillor Smith, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Hiscott. Thank you. Councillor Smith, did you wish to speak to this
I
item?
just say that this has again been what I'd say quite a painless and a good exercise. Not an exercise, it's just been done very well with consultation with the people out there in our good area to the east. I think everyone is basically quite happy with it. There's been a lot of work done. We have been discussed it quite a few times. It has been the workshops. I think it's just a piece of important work. And I think this will just help things go forward out there. Yes, and that's all I can say. It's just been a lot of work's been put into it. That's what I'd just like to say.
Indeed.
A lot of effort, and it's that's all I think I could say to that one.
Thank you.
Well done to the staff and the people out there.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Wiley.
Thank you. It's probably no secret that I am a Turners Beach resident, so I have been watching this one carefully, as we do all watch and read everything really carefully. But I guess what I wanted to comment on was the history of the reason why this was looked at, and before the Tasmanian planning scheme had been changed, a lot of the things that were in the original specific area plan were relevant, whereas when the planning scheme came in, there was a lot of repetition. There was a lot of confusion for people who were moving into the area thinking they could do things to their property and then found that they couldn't. But what was the most important to, I think, all of the residents of the area and for all of us was to keep what is special about Turners Beach to remain that way. And I'm really pleased to see the protection of the native vegetation, some of the plans that are aside from this, like the Greening Central Coast strategy, again, is something that helps support again Turners Beach for those unique things that it has. The building height was something that has come up with a few of the representations, and I think after researching that quite closely, it's still discretionary after 5.5 building height anyway, so it's still going to have to go through a discretionary process with council, even though that discretion is proposed to change from 7.5 to 8.5. One of the benefits of that height sort of being proposed to go up is that there's going to be more scope for landscaping, for being able to see between properties, and not fit for the people that are actually developing, not to feel that they have to take up that whole space and have a flat roof just to be able to fit within those parameters. So the new proposed parameters will hopefully lead to a little bit more creativity and a little bit nicer properties being built out there. I didn't read that very well, but I hope you get what I'm talking about.
You did a fabulous job. It's not an easy concept to explain, so congratulations, you've done a great job. Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Carpenter.
Just for a minute, Mayor, I'd like to congratulate you, Councillor Wiley. I thought you'd done exceptionally well with that. Thank you very much. Really well done, especially when you close to your heart and you're living there. And I think one of the most important things, this is just a process into the final decision, which is the TPC's decision. So representors or anybody else still got that opportunity to make that case. And this is a good way to do that. Powers to be that above us will make a decision one way or the other. So, but thank you, Councillor Wiley.
Indeed, yes, here. Fabulous. Any other speakers? Councillor Beswick.
Yeah, just a few things, Mayor. Concur with the comments of Councillor Wiley as well. Like the extra height, if you've got a 20-metre wide block, we're talking about something that is only, with our building envelope, that's only going to be 9 metres wider in the middle, and it will help the designers to be able to build a more aesthetic building. As far as shading goes, it's not going to make any difference to the shading because again, there's a building envelope, and that's all in relation to the building side of things. And I think what we've done with this, as far as the landscaping so forth in the front of on the streetscape of houses, and that it's going to keep the aesthetics of Turners Beach in a good manner. I suppose I wasn't on council before when this got put in, but it was sort of retrospective to when other buildings were already that height. So what's happened is that some people with their existing houses were at 8.5 metres, but then it restricted anybody else that went into that space. There's a bit of commentary in there that it talks about the height of buildings adjacent to the dunes. There's not that many blocks left for that, but this can help the blocks that are further back that might want to do a second story extension or whatever, that they may be in a little bit better position to be able to, as you mentioned, be able to perhaps see a little bit of a view through the rest of it. As Councillor Carpenter mentioned, this is one step in the process, and the representors have got the opportunity to put in a representation when it comes up at a hearing in the future. So going through me.
Fabulous. Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Smith, did you wish to close?
Just like to say, as the councillors have been well over this, and just a great job's been done, and that's all. I think all has been said perfectly.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. 9.8, tenders for truck replacement, F502. You've received a report there and the evaluation that has been done by staff. Would a councillor care to move the suggested resolution?
Thank you.
Councillor Viney, seconded by Councillor Hiskett. Councillor Viney, would you like to speak to this, please?
Certainly would. Great to see a good story. The good story being that we have a plant tender replacement that's actually coming under budget, and I'm sure our finance director will be very happy with that, because there may be some extra funds available for other projects.
Right up until 9.9.
that.
Thank you. Any other speakers on 9.8, please? No, sounds like councillor Varney has said it all. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. 9.9, tenders for backhoe replacement F901, which is a different story than the one we had previously. Thank you, councillor Hiskett. Seconded, councillor Beswick. Councillor Hiskett, did you wish to comment?
And it's gone.
Yes.
The replacement for this one is slightly above budget, but it is less above budget than the other one was below budget. So we're still a net positive for the year so far, or in this agenda for plant replacement, which is good. Yeah, I think very happy to trust the recommendations from the committee that review the items from our works department, and I think that they know what they're doing, they know what's good, they know what it's going to be used for, and just buying something that's cheaper doesn't necessarily it's better, or you get the value for money in the long run. So happy to trust the opinions before.
Thank you. Also, thank you to the director for the additional information. You'll notice that we now have the total fleet budget and the year-to-date budget and costs, which is information that we didn't have before. So that provides you with a bit, and the community with some greater transparency about how the budget is being spent. There being no other speakers, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. Bear with me. And we had no questions for the Department of Infrastructure Services. Thank you, Paul. Continuing on, 9.10, statutory determinations. You've received a schedule of statutory determinations. Would a councillor care to move the suggested resolution for that item? Are you ready?
So moved.
Thank you, councillor Carpenter. Seconded, councillor Diprose. Any discussion? Councillor Hiskett?
Sorry, probably should have talked this briefly before, but just to note for people or the public, the amount of cautions issued at Midway Point. There was obviously a lot of debate there that council are not attending and not doing enough there. It's good to see. Well, it's not good to see that there's 53 cautions, but it's good to see the council has been very active in that, and that is should give some comfort to the members of the public that we are, trying our best to enforce the rules that we've set in place for that space now that it's open. Just the unusually large number of patrols to the Penguin Surf Lifesaving Precinct. I just wondered if I could have a comment or take it on notice.
Are you happy to ask for me to pose that to the directors? Sam, do you have anything you can share?
Yes, through you, Mayor. Because we've had an increased presence out at the Midway Point campground, we would undertake patrols out in that area as a matter of course.
Yep.
Okay, we have had a couple of phone calls regarding people parked there illegally. I don't think from memory that there were any cautions issued if they were not there when we were there, but we have had an increased presence for that reason.
So it's being responsive to the public. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you. Any further discussion, councillor Carpenter?
Yes, Mayor. There's just one thing I'd like to bring up here for future discussions is in this unregistered dogs by compliance. Every month we seem to be getting a reasonable number of dogs being picked up, which is great. And I go back a few, 7 or 8 years ago, I think we had a push on trying to get people to register dogs, and we put a campaign together to go out and pick up dogs and make people aware that they've got to become registered and so forth. Now, I think to my understanding back then that was fairly successful in recruiting. I shouldn't say recruiting, but in attaining, making sure that dogs were licensed. When you look back through all our stats over the last probably 10 or 12 months, it's probably prudent that we do the same again. Because really, when you see the amount of dogs every month that come in unlicensed, I think it's telling us a really great story that there's a lot out there that's not registered. Now we compensate people that pay license, compensate for the rest of them, and people have got to license their dogs. And since COVID, around the world, dog ownership went up exponentially. I know, like in New Zealand, I think when I was there last year, it went up 17,000 dogs last year, registered alone on the year before without unregistered dogs.
Yeah.
So we probably, I think it's time to take note of this and put in future actions that perhaps one of these campaigns really about time again.
Thank you. Through Sam, did you wish to comment on our work there?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I agree, Councillor Carpenter. There are a very high number of dogs that we pick up through barking complaints or straying animals are unregistered. We do have a small allowance in the budget to do some active work in that space. We haven't planned that yet, so I would certainly be interested in seeking support for councillors before we do anything, considering understanding what might have been done in the past. But there are certainly a lot of unregistered dogs out there that could assist us in paying for infrastructure and increased patrols and so forth.
Yes.
Because our compliance officers are very stretched, as you know. They have a large area to monitor, and I guess that the funding we receive from the registration is very important in coming body foot.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. We have a mover and a seconder. Thank you. Any other discussion? Thank you for the discussion that you gave. I put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. We're going to suspend the agenda there and go to public question time. It is my own fault that I sat at this table and realised that we should have removed that chair. Councillor DePrez, Councillor Hiscock, could you facilitate that chair hopping out of the way, please? Which allows us to see people that are in the gallery, and it also allows whoever is in the gallery that might want to step forward to the table for the purposes of being heard on the recording to ask their question should they choose. So that's my fault. I should have done that before. So is there anyone in the gallery that would like to? Thank you, Mr. Carr. Could I ask you to step forward to that water jug? Yes, perfect.
Hey everybody.
Thank you.
I'm
Gary
very
Clark
sharp.
from Furnace Beach.
Yeah, the
Thank you.
caravan park.
Yes.
I'd like to ask 3 questions. I know I'm only allowed to ask 2, but anyway.
Any of this?
I was just wondering how the lease was progressing. And we've got a lot of people concerned about the bike and walk track, where that's going to go. And I've had some people suggest, why can't they go through the Berry Patch Road and go under the train line like they did in the Don? Because there's a lot of traffic on Esplanade. And when this shop gets going at Mars, it's going to be very busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's all I'm asking.
Good,
And if
okay.
I could ask one more little question, perhaps.
All right. Well, I'll take all 3. So we've got the progression of the lease, which the CEO will answer, the shared pathway, which he'll answer or delegate, and what was the 3rd one? Because
I was just wondering whether the council had agreed to get the Sweet Street route to get all the loose rocks off the road in the caravan park.
okay, all right. Suppose that will also, that might have to be one on notice. Mr. CEO.
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. The leases are progressing well. It's a commercial matter with us and the Lions Club of Forth Valley. That's the answer to that one. In terms of the other element about street sweeper, we allow the Lions Club to manage that facility. That would be a matter you would take up with the Lions Club, and I appreciate your Lions Club member, but you need to speak to the president or someone that we're dealing with.
Yeah,
that's a commercial matter. In terms of the bike path, or would you have some thoughts on that? Because it is a little bit confusing when you come off the path from Leaf going into Turners Beach, getting back onto it.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there's been a history of the pathway location throughout the last probably 20 odd years through that area. We went through a very exhaustive process to consider going past the Berry Patch and underneath and or over the railway line at the other end. Those options aren't viable. To go underneath the railway means we're underneath the water levels, so it just doesn't physically work. We would be underwater for part of the time.
Oh, okay.
So that was ruled out some time ago. The option that we've gone with through Turners Beach has been after a consultation process out in 2022 with various members of the public on a working committee. The final location was determined as a part of that process. So we're now working toward finalising those designs and getting on with the construction of that pathway, which does run up past where the caravan park is and then down through Henry Street.
So where will the cars parked? Like, if it does go through there, there's a lot of cars parked on that left-hand side, so how's that going to work?
Yeah, I don't know the exact design yet. They're still working on the design, but I would expect that they'll be parking on one side or the other and perhaps not both sides. It wouldn't be wide enough, but again, I'm not sure of the final design to actually categorically say that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. And as part of that work, obviously, there'll be it will be important for us that signage is a key part of that. It is a bit of a challenge. It's a whenever there's a work in progress, isn't it? That the signage signs don't come to the end, but there's lots of people in the middle that are trying to figure out where to go and so forth. So we're working on that as quickly as we can, but I trust that answers some of your questions. Any other questions from the gallery, please? Amanda, just yeah, you're up. Hello, Michael.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry I didn't give the other councillor notification that I was to have one question asked, but I asked it now. I've remembered it only 5 minutes ago, and that was approximately 3 weeks ago, just outside 17 Victoria Street, the entrance next to Elaine Dyson's property. That small tree's branch snapped and was covered the complete footpath, and I needed and it was a windy night, a windy day that day, and I needed to ask a friend to come and move it, and so he came that evening and he bought his chainsaw and cut it up into a small number of pieces, and it was only days later, that I think it was Monday following, that a higher branch snapped on that same tree. And this is suggesting to me, and I did go around looking in other areas close to Victoria Street, and I wouldn't mind betting it's probably the same type of tree where now we're going to be coming very much closer to the windy conditions approaching us. These type of trees are going to be snapping branches so much more often, and I suggest that the officers concerned in the maintenance of these trees look at them much more carefully and cut them back before any car accidents get occurred, or with the branches just being thrown into them, or else injuries occur with people being injured with them being snapped as well.
Thank you, Michael. I know that you came in and saw our staff there at the front counter. Paul, have you got any comment about our checking or our maintenance schedule for street trees, which is what it is that Michael's referring to there? How do we check those?
Thank you, Mayor. We do have an annual inspection on all street trees effectively. Not sure exactly which trees you're referring to and whether you mentioned they're on private property or on council property, but most of our work is around the council.
Yes, they were on council property on Victoria Street.
Out on the street,
Yeah.
Where it was covered.
We have them inspected just to make sure of their integrity moving forward. So if they're a tree that are going to continually drop branches, which are not, then we may have to deal with that. But I tree they are, and we'll have that assessment experts to understand what that means going forward.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Michael, for, as you always do, keeping your eye out for things that might be an issue to both yourself and others. Any other questions from the gallery? Hello.
Yes, hello, Mayor and Senators. Thank you for your time. Now,
Would you just state your name and where you're from? Just the township? No, just for the purpose of the recording.
sure. My name's Kevin Abood, and I run the bookshop here in town, in Raby Street.
Thank you, Kevin. Welcome.
Now, my questions here tonight at the Central Coast Council General Meeting, the 19th of February, relate to possible mergers and amalgamations. With the following mayors and council comments from the linked Sean Ford Advocate article on the 5th of August 2023,
relating to the local government review process on council mergers and amalgamations with neighbouring councils including Devonport, Latrobe and Kentish. Central Coast Council hits local government reform process. Inverted commas, we do not believe the residents of Central Coast would benefit by any significant boundary adjustments, but the current council unanimously agree we would benefit from shared service arrangements, it said. And it said responsible council directors agreed to amount of boundary adjustments or amalgamation would deal with the core issue of recruitment. Central Coast Council hits local government reform process. There's in the Advocate and Burnie up the road. As a small business and property owner myself in the Central Coast municipality here, I am happy the council is questioning mergers and amalgamations, though there are concerns with Devonport through media articles, etc., having a stance to still amalgamate with Central Coast and other neighbouring councils. This now leads to the following questions which relate to the knowledge of this process and the homework the council has completed. Can the council, so these questions are on notice, sorry.
Thank you.
Can the council please provide the community the estimated cost regarding any future merger or amalgamation that have been established for the Central Coast Council and community, including what the estimated costs are for the proposed merged amalgamation for the councils of Devonport, Latrobe and Kentish, if this merger amalgamation takes place in the final Local Government Review Board recommendation? My second question is, with there being over 500 mainland councils and the intensive research the Central Coast Council has completed through the knowledge and homework completed in forming your decision to oppose merger amalgamation with the neighbouring councils of Devonport, Latrobe and Kentish, can the council and councillors please provide the community with 5 examples of where successful and 5 unsuccessful council amalgamations from mainland Australia have occurred, including costs versus benefits modelling or analysis based on the following criteria where councils are financially more stable and fiscally sustainable with incurred examples of lower rates and costed efficiencies. Council infrastructure has been improved to outlying suburbs and communities, including to regional councils. Council community services have improved to outlying suburbs and communities, including to regional councils. Individual councillors' voice has input has improved regarding all decisions made by amalgamated councils. Community voice and input has been enhanced in the decision making of the council. And finally, community voice and input into local planning decisions has been improved.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you for providing those and providing them to us on notice, because obviously we need to do some work and perhaps respond to you in writing. I just wanted to clarify from my own understanding then, was your interpretation of the media articles that you've read, was your interpretation that this council was in favour of a merger or amalgamation with Devonport, Kentish and Latrobe? Is that the basis on which?
I believe you're concerned about the amalgamation. So no, you're not going to jump in.
Yes, okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. Just want to get clarification about that. Is that a copy that we may keep?
It will in a minute.
Yes, thank you. Yes, good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Welcome. Hello, I'm Cheryl.
Good evening, Mayor and councillors.
Thank you. And your name?
Morris from Guns Plains.
Thanks, Morris. Welcome. How can I help you? Sorry, Boris. My apologies.
Like Boris Johnson. The notorious Boris Johnson.
Who doesn't live at Guns Plains?
Thank goodness.
How can we help you this evening?
Okay, I've got a question here. As the Central Coast Council has a number of registered business names, Australian business numbers, ABNs, Australian company numbers, ACNs, trusts, along with agreements with non-government organisations and resource sharing arrangements or agreements with other councils. Can councillors please provide, in the best interest of the community, all the above business names that includes all ABNs, all companies, all ACNs and all trusts registered and or operating under the Central Coast Council
or any affiliates along with or resources sharing arrangements, including any public-private partnerships, agreements with NGOs, trusts or foundations, and other councils, and that includes all signatories to business names, ABNs, ACNs, company board members and NGOs, both executive and non-executive directors, including all company and council constitutions, not exhaustive, as of the 19th of February 2024, in the best interests of the community, whom one presumes are the shareholders of these companies.
Thank you so much. I also trust that that's on notice
Yes,
and that
that's
we
right.
have a copy of that. Thank you so much, Boris, and that will also give the CEO something to think about for the next couple of weeks. Thank you. Any other questions from the gallery? No, thank you. Thank you for your questions and thank you for your interest in our work. And we'll undertake, those of you that require a response in writing, we will undertake to do so within the parameters of our Customer Service Charter. Resuming the meeting then, only one item left in the items open to the public, which is item 9.11. It's the financial report. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, let me stop right there. I apologise. The CEO has a question on notice for public question time.
Yes, Madam Mayor, this is one I can answer tonight, which is good. On the 29th of February or January 2024, Ms. Galen Marie submitted the following question to be asked tonight. And the question is, can the taxi rank shelter and bus shelters at Ulverston that are very dirty and cobwebs all over them be cleaned? The seat in the bus shelter has a sticky substance all over it, preventing you from sitting down. Our response is, on receipt of the information regarding shelter cleanliness, the condition was immediately assessed and cleaning was carried out. Shelters have now been listed for more regular cleaning. Thank you, Galen, for helping us improve our services. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Barry, and my apologies that I neglected to remember that. I forgot to remember. I do that every month, don't I? I need a buzzer. And thank you, yes, to the questioner, Galen, for asking that. And of course, a reminder to everybody that that's exactly the type of inquiry that is well lodged through our Inteno app, which is an app that you can download for any of your smartphones from the App Store or Google Play, which allows you to quickly take a photo of dirty, sticky places and upload it so that our staff can attend to it quickly, which I know, Paul, they have done with this particular inquiry, and those issues have been rectified, and I'm sure probably added to somebody's maintenance register to be attended to more promptly. So thank you for all of those questions. Resuming then 9.11, which is the financial reports, which as the director has mentioned to you earlier, you will receive every monthly now, as opposed to the quarterly financial reports that we were accustomed to. You've been provided with all the reports that are listed there in the agenda. Do I have a councillor care to move the suggested resolution? Move Councillor Viney, seconded Councillor Wiley. Councillor Viney, would you like to speak to this item?
So I'd like to move that the financial reports up till the end of January be received. Do note that they are interim results as far as the year is concerned, and there are many unders and overs which have been very well explained by the director, and the proof in the pudding on the budget ultimately is what it is on the 30th of June in 5 months' time. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers, please? Thank you, Councillor Wiley.
Thank you. I'd just like to commend Director Searle on the work that she's put into the new way of reporting to us. It's a really big step into improving our transparency and our accountability, and I just really appreciate the updates coming more frequently in a very clear and easy to read manner.
Well said. Thank you. Councillor Hiskett.
Clear, concise and transparent.
Fabulous. We love those words. Any other speakers? Councillor Viney, did you wish to close?
No, thank you.
No. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. We have no questions for the Department of Corporate Services. 10.1 is meeting closed to the public. Would a councillor care to move the suggested resolution for 10.1? Thank you, councillor Wiley. Seconded, councillor Diprose. I put the motion. All those in favour, aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried, which brings us to the end of the public section of our meeting. Thank you for coming. Do we need to retrieve some written copies of the questions? Darryl's done so. Thank you so much. We will close to the meeting to the public, and please join us again.
Michael.